as at the time you were with us last year in August, we were talking about key success factors for businesses in Nigeria. Since that time, well, let me also say that this experience sharing session is part of the way LBS seeks to ensure that participants get best practices. And since the time you've been here with us, you have been, opened the $1 billion plant in Ibese. You're planning to commission the second phase of Obajana, which is the biggest cement plant in West Africa so far. I think that we all know that Forbes recognizes you as the richest man in Africa and one of the richest men in the world. And of course, there's several other numerous awards. Well, seeing that you've been able to achieve so much, we felt that we should hear from you about the magic of thinking big and key success factors in business. So without saying much more, I'm going to ask Alaji to speak with us. We're going to speak, he will speak with us and we'll have the opportunity to ask questions. And afterwards, we'll have a photo session where the different classes can take pictures with him. And then we have a cocktail where everyone can also continue with the one-on-one interaction with Alaji. We hope to finish by 12:30. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you know, I think we're one of the largest conglomerates in Africa. It wasn't really an easy thing, you know. We went through even now we're still facing issues, but you know, we're doing better than a lot of people. We're highly diversified in terms of products portfolio. Why we did that, you know, because before we were mainly only in food, and that's it, you know. But you know, business is like a cycle, especially, you know, in a place like Nigeria where government policies used to change very often. Even now they do, you know, because there are two types of entrepreneurs or business men where some of them, they rely fully on government support. Some of them, they rely on purely hard work. The ones that I call, you know, those that they fully rely on government support, you know, these are people that will always go to the government. And you know, they normally don't get to Abuja until middle of the night. They get into the villa and then they, you know, talk to them to give them an import waiver on what somebody is producing so that they don't pay duties, they don't pay taxes, and you know, they just make easy money. And they cause quite a lot of distortions in terms of, you know, somebody who is struggling. I know the hardest part of business in Nigeria is that, especially our type of business, once we arrive somewhere, the whole community, even the extended community, they actually let government go of their responsibilities. You know, they hold on to us in terms of roads, in terms of power, in terms of water, education, including, you know, empowerment, you know, making money and whatever. So, you know, that's why sometimes, you know, the money you have to spend that has nothing to do with the business is quite a lot. And you have to really do your numbers right, otherwise you might end up, you know, shortchanging yourself. And we focus on a lot of, thank you. We focus on a lot of value added, this, you know, where we want to use local raw materials to turn them into something, you know, rather than importing, you know, because we believe we need to conserve the foreign exchange. Yes, today maybe we have 37 billion, but when you look at that 7 billion in terms of the population that we have in Nigeria, and also our test for imported products, it's not really a big sum of money. You know, we've been to 68 before. We are now at 34. And, you know, you see what we've been doing. Even when the going was good, we have already planned to totally almost become an export-oriented company by the year 2015. And it is one of the things that, you always have to think ahead. In business, sometimes what is good today might not be good tomorrow. So you need to, look at it. If you have the means, there's nothing really like diversification. Sometimes you do quite a lot of diversification, and then you consolidate before you move forward. You cannot just keep expanding, because sometimes when you over-expand, it can cause a lot of crisis also. So you need at least once in a while to consolidate and go on. Go back. But you can see already the vision of the company is to be a world-class enterprise that is passionate about the living standard of the general population, and also high returns to stakeholders. Our mission is to touch the lives of people by providing their basic needs, and then core values: customer service, entrepreneurship, excellence, and leadership. In the early days, when we started, I started in 1978, and when I came back from Cairo, I decided, okay, maybe I would just work a little bit, with the family, and decided that, okay, maybe the best thing to do, because normally in our own, family, they allow you to try. We try to encourage people to go on their own, and that's why really I don't think if I have more than two relatives, maybe three, including directors that are coming from my family, both from my mother's side and my father's side. I don't think, including myself, we are not more than 4 or 5 of us in the whole group. We try as much as possible to encourage people to go on their own and try their own luck. But that's really a normal Nigerian. A normal Nigerian doesn't really want to work for anybody. That's how we can say when you want to go and try his own luck. So I started first, and I was getting an allocation of just 3-4 trucks of cement to go and resell per day. And I was given an opportunity, giving 500,000 naira, to use it as a capital. I had small money even when I came. The 500,000 naira, it sounds small, but at that time I think it was big money. Because in 1978 I was very excited. The first car that I bought before even I started making good money in 1978 was Mercedes 200. And that Mercedes, what I paid was 5,100 naira. Air conditioning, fully loaded. But that time there was no power steering, there was no power steering. But yeah, okay. There was actually no, so that was how, I started. I'll be skipping, but you can read. And during that time, we concentrated on, general goods. Why general goods? Because whatever that we lay our hands on in terms of import license. There was import license before in Nigeria, up to 1986. It was when General Babangida came into power. He abolished the import license. But before the import license, before it was abolished, you cannot, as a business person, concentrate only on one product, because you might not get that license. Because they will give you a license. The license is restricted. You cannot, and yes, foreign exchange was available at a point, but then at the same time, you have to go and bid for the foreign exchange and buy. So, majority of these licenses, they were not given to the right people. So you need to go and get those, people. But what we did at that time, so that we will not really be caught legally, because it wasn't transferable. We always encourage people. We will get our own. We also encourage people to make sure that that they have like an SPV, you know, just that particular company. They don't use it for anything. They go and apply for the license. Once they are given, they will now to be a fresh company. So we don't take a company with liabilities, you know. So we'll take that company, we'll go and also open our own, you know. So up to the time, when they abolished the import license, that was actually what helped us. And it's not, well, that was, from that time, we actually became #1 in sugar, #1 in rice, and, you know, almost most of the commodities, baby food, frozen fish, were all #1 at that time. But that was also a reason, because majority of the big business moguls at that time, especially from the northern part, they were all locked up by General Buhari. If you remember, you know, everybody was locked up. During Buhari, who are very lucky, I think was the only company that Buhari allowed us to go away with our rice. Because when Buhari took over, majority of us, you know, importing, we had almost 13 ships of rice. The day that he took over, you know, I think 2-3 days later, he declared that, look, rice must be sold at 36 naira a bag, you know, and the price was about 60 at that time. But we were lucky actually, he did not take our own, he seized 12 ships, we ended up getting, you know, our own. And the money that we made was quite a lot of money, you know, because yes, we made extra despite the despite the 36 naira price, you know, we sold at 66 naira. And what we did was that, you know, somebody will have to pay us cash with no receipt for 30 naira. And then, you know, the rest, you'll be, you know, you go and pay, you pay the 30 naira in the house in Sulele. And then, you know, you know, then you go and pay the official price at our office in Papa. And that was, you know, quite a lot of money. It sounds small, 30 naira, but 30 naira was, you know, was really big. So we did that, we went through that. Luckily for us, what we did, we actually reinvested, you know, most of the money into the business. You know, we are not really sharing money, or we are not really extravagant in terms of lifestyle. And we tried as much as possible to keep most of what we are making in that business. So I think it was 1997, you know, we had a retreat with Anderson at that time, you know, which is now KPMG. And the retreat, what we did was that, because, you know, during these years, up to 1995, thereabout, you know, we couldn't really turn around our money. We had actually so much cash. We were just trying to see what we'll do with money, really, at that time. Well, we don't really borrow money at all. We've never really borrowed. The first time we borrowed money was 2001. And, you know, at that time, what we tried to do was to say, okay, fine, how do we just turn around our money? And I think that was the time we tried a lot of this. We bought, I mean, we got a license for Liberty Merchant Bank. And instead of the normal 6 million naira as the capital of the bank, we started that bank with 30 million. You know, because our dream was to see that we have the biggest and also the most powerful, the strongest bank in the country, merchant bank. And that also taught us a lesson, you know, and I keep telling people that unless you are a banker, don't go into banking. Unless you are a banker, you know, and it can, especially, you know, somebody who is an entrepreneur with a very big business, it will be almost suicidal if you try to go into banking. You know, I will tell you what we did. Even if I forget remind me, I'll tell you the story of why somebody shouldn't be in banking. You know, if you are a big conglomerate, banking for a big conglomerate is really, really very, very bad, and it can bring the whole group down. So you have to be very, very bright. So in the future, when you get there, if you see banking and you are an entrepreneur with a lot of business interest, don't get there, just take up. So, with this, we incorporated DIL, we transformed, this, and we decided that, okay, part of what became paramount at that time was to say, okay, how do we actually utilize this cash that we had? What do we do? And I think we called the chairman, I think it was the CEO of Nigerian breweries, then not Festus, I think he came and he told us that, look, the opportunities are a lot in Nigeria, we have not even scratched the surface, blah, blah. So we listened to him and we called another guy, I don't really remember, I think it was the chairman at that time, Guinness. It was Alabi, at that time was MD. So rest in peace. He also came and, we were really very, very scared at that time of industry because we tried textile. At that time, we went into textile in 1989 to up there 2000, and we really suffered mainly because of the massive. At the beginning, it was Indian, attack. It was just dumping from India that made us to, lose so much money. Then the Chinese also joined. And they totally killed the industry. If you remember, the textile industry used to be the second employer of labor in Nigeria. The total people working in the textile industry was, I think, over 260,000 people, which is all lost now, really. Our own at that time, I think we had in Lagos around 4,700 plus, and in Kano 1,800. Then we had the generaries. But total, we had almost about 6,400 something people, which we had to swallow the bullet and pay everybody off and shut down the business. It cost us heavy amount of money because the one that we had in Lagos was one that was set up by Chief Awolo, which was Nigerian Textile Mills. So a lot of the workers that started was since 1960. Up to that for almost about 40 years. We had to pay them their pension gratuity, which the company did not really make any reserve for. So it's another big lesson that, we went through. So we decided that, okay, fine, let's try the manufacturing again, going back into industry. And we look at most people, like the Adebowales and nobody really did well in industry. Because there is that problem of power, and without power you can't do anything. So we decided that, okay, we'll still try, and we look at the mistakes they made and say, okay, how do we really make these things change? So we went into industry and the decision was, okay, instead of going into this industry without knowing what we're not going to produce watches or whatever. No, we will just do a backward integration, meaning that what we've been trading in, we should try and produce those things that we've been trading in, and that was really what helped us. So we will take up the headache of marketing of the product, marketing, distribution, for this area that we know how to import them. When we have the goods, we know how to market them, we know how to distribute them. So the only area we have to fight for is to know how to produce good quality products, that can match with any, anywhere. So that is what we did. We started sugar, salt. We had a very big battle because when we started salt, it was one dominant company, which was Daikon. I'm sure you must have heard Daikon salt. Daikon salt was actually the golden of companies in Nigeria before. They never brought money. They had a lot of cash, and it's okay. But then, how do we convince people not to deal with them? Even when we had the bank, I'm sure even myself, I went to Daikon maybe minimum 7, 8 times to just try and have their accounts, and you know, it took us almost 3 years before they agreed to open an account, you know, with us. So it was a big company, but we went in there, and within 2 years, we took over the entire market of salt. And I think it was that time that people thought, I don't know, you know, dealing with us, you know, somebody has to be ready, who can be tough, or sometimes, you know, to say it might, you know, sometimes people say we are brutal. No, nothing like that. But, you know, it was just a marketing something, because we are not really used to making that kind of money. Because when we went into the market, I remember they were selling the salt at 360 naira. And we thought, okay, well, 220 naira is good enough, and we just said, okay, we'll sell at 220, and that was really how we took the market. So we left, you know, we did bags, even to, you know, pack our own goods. We are making our own bags. I will show you later on again. Yeah. Then we move on from that time. After we put up all these things, you know, by the beginning, which is the growth and the sustenance, growth, sustenance, and also the expansion. When we got to the cement, when we finished our terminal, you know, it was just a terminal which we wanted to do just about 300,000 tons per annum, most likely maybe maximum 500,000. So we thought, okay, fine, the best thing that we'll do, there is no way in anywhere you can go and fight with Lafarge. Well, Lafarge, they are a world, you know, they are quite big, really. You know, we didn't even want to think about it at all. And I went to see the MD. I said, yes, it's possible to come to town. I met with the CEO of Africa when he came to Nigeria. Look, why don't you come and take over this factory? Give us 60%, you take 40% with management, so that you can consolidate your, you know, account. We talked for almost about 3 months or so. They said no, the condition is that they must take 51% majority, and also management, and then we will sign an agreement that will never do cement again, this and that. You know, which we agreed to actually, but the only area where we had this agreement was that percentage. And you know, you can see how really God works out things, you know. And I said, okay, well, let them agree, but I refused to agree more than the 60%, because we had almost about 13 projects at that time. And the 13 projects, you know, the banks were very small, so you had a limit of how much, you know, you could go and borrow from the banks. What actually stopped us from agreeing to the terms of Lafarge was because of rumors. You know, Lagos looks big, or Nigeria looks big, but it can be small also, because, you know, within the cycle we know all our source. And, you know, at that time, some people had already started spreading the rumor that, look, Dangote, you know, especially, you know, our own commissioners, that, look, Dangote, they are getting very tight on cash. So if we now go and sell majority shares, it means that, yes, that story is correct. So we decided no, not to. So we said, okay, well, Lafarge should go and try their luck. We will also come to the market and try, you know, our luck. I mean, there's really nothing to fear, you know, because we've reached the end of the war, and we must try our best and see what we can try and, you know, and that's really how we do the business started. I think by the 3rd year, in terms of market share, we've already taken much higher than, you know, Lafarge. And then we went to Benue. There was a bit between ourselves and Lafarge. Even that one did not really deter us at all. You know, we were not scared of their size. You know, because sometimes when you are small, you can be more efficient. You know, and really don't get scared of anything at all. Because in life, all what you have to look at is, okay, fine. That guy you are saying that he has done what? He's a human being like you. So why can't you also do it? You know, I mean, that's what it is. So we say, okay, well, the people running Lafarge is not a remote machine or whatever, you know. It's not, you know, it's not something, they have done something and we too we can do it. It doesn't mean that blacks won't be able to. So it's okay. We went there, there was an open bid which was recorded actually, and we ended up winning Benue cement. But what we didn't know is actually the power of Lafarge to cause a lot of mischief at that time. You know, because what they did was just to create problems with the local community, and the thing became very, very political. I think I went to the National Assembly almost about 8 or 9 times about the fight in Benue. We declared that Dangote even trucks are not allowed to go to Benue State. So we had to stop all our business in Benue State because it was a big fight. And then we fought, to cut the story short, we fought between ourselves, the Benue State government, for 46 months. For 46 months we fought with them, and we had to abandon Benue to go and start building Obajana. It was when they saw Obajana was 5 million tons. You know, then they gave up. But by the time that they gave up, in annoyance, they had already burnt, there are 2 lines in Benin, they had already burnt down 1 line. You know, totally, you know, while it's just the main kiln that was, you know, on. But they, you know, they did that. But we resolved the issue. Today it is a different story. But, you know, that's also a very long part. And then we had, you know, we keep on expanding, we have proven cash management. Now what I keep saying, well, it is even now that we are a bit generous in terms of giving dividend. But when we were private, we were not giving any dividend anywhere at all. We don't give dividends out. We always invest our cash into the business. Like the only year which we gave a dividend on Dangote Industries, which is not a listed company, a parent company, and we gave a dividend of $280 million, but that's 2009 dividend. So we still have not done the dividend of 2010, 2011. You know, so we are always investing. Since when we started, we have not really stopped. So we kept on just going on. We improved the business process and the structure to align with the business, you know, vision of the group. What we keep doing at that time was actually to keep calling and have just a very short strategy session with maybe sometimes KPMG, sometimes McKinsey. But I remember that time McKinsey did a short, you know, strategic growth for the company for 5 years. And I think we used it only for 2 years because we had already exceeded that target. You know, so we kept it by the side. We didn't really use it. And then the expansion, you know, continued in 2003, 2000, in which we had a significant, you know, turnover at that time. 1.6 at that time was quite, you know, a lot. But now we're nearly almost $4 billion. Majority of what we are doing was sort of to try and see that the individual businesses, all of them will continue to grow them. And we're trying to also change the business from now going forward. Because most of the business, like the sugar, you know, we spin the sugar, the flour, salt, and pasta division, you know, to their own subsidiaries, you know, which was only one subsidiaries of Dangote Group. And we listed them in the stock market. That was the first time that we went to the stock market. And we had a very successful IPO. You know, it was buying the book of capital market at that time. And we did very well, commissioned the Obajana plant. One of the experience that, you know, I got in terms of building a huge industry in Nigeria is to do with level of infrastructure. You know, there was what you call the grinding table, the one that we use to grind the limestone. then you start the process. It weighed about 180 tons, and the size is huge. So when we brought it here, we could not even take it out of the port because the only option was for us to demolish the gate of the port, which would have become very controversial. That's one. Number two, there was no crane in Nigeria that people needed to down. So of course, you need a crane of 200 and 500 tons because it has to stretch the boom. And if it's that, then you need 3 times the power to be able to do it. And we couldn't. And then we had to run a survey with the Federal Ministry of Works to find out, okay, these are bridges in Lagos. Would they be able to handle 100? And no, not one. All the bridges will not be able to. You see, because the weight is in one, single location. So it's not spread. So the 180 tons, they said that no, they will not even allow us because all the bridges were not designed to carry 180 tons. And we are stuck for what? We are stuck almost for about 18 months. But when you are stuck for 18 months, it's not just you are stuck for 18 months. The clock was ticking at that time. And I remember one time when I went to I went to one seminar, and people came out, they are complaining that no, it's very difficult. You can never ever create a business with interest at 10%. It is impossible. But they are just making noise. So I laughed, and when I started making my presentation, I said, well, you guys, you are lucky. When we established our business and we started borrowing money, at the time when we were building over Ghana, I think we were being paid 42% interest rate. Yeah, we have paid 42% interest rate in between 2004 2005. We are paid, because you remember the banks, even themselves, they are very small. They are tiny banks because the capital was 2 billion naira. So it's not that they had money. They too, they are struggling. They are just small banks. Even the capital market, the total capital market before the banking consolidation was just 1.6 or so trillion. It was after the banking consolidation that the market went as high as that 13 trillion. But it was 1.6 trillion. It wasn't really that big. There was not really big money. So when we started Oban Jana, we had a big, massive cost overrun for various reasons. Number one, there was no feasibility study on Oban Jana. We didn't do any feasibility study at all. And there was a reason for that. It's not that we were ignorant, no. Because at that time we were a bit scared. We didn't trust anybody. Because we didn't want the news to get to Lafarge or to get to anybody that were building a cement plant. We've seen how Lafarge dealt with us by breaking us in Benue. So the best thing for us is to lie low and pretend that we are not doing anything. Because if we come out, they'll cut us off. So we decided that we are not really going to tell anybody. So there was no feasibility at all. We just wanted to be fine. If we are to build this, what do we do? But we had actually forgotten about the infrastructure. And the guys, FLS, who are the biggest in terms of cement plants, they did not tell us exactly what and what we should do. Because they do, what they wanted was just for them to sell their machines. And once we give them a little credit, that's it. So we said, okay, fine. The estimate was 480 million. We didn't even calculate the interest payments. Because when you are in an industry, it's different than doing trading. Because with industry, you will not reap any benefit. You will not take any dime, not a penny. You will be able to take out of that business until you finish. So you will be pumping and pumping and pumping. The day that you start producing, and even the production has to be right before you start collecting money from people. So that's the other aspect of industry. So, but we went in and we started from 480. Now the thing became $1.2 billion. But we're very late because we're faced with so many issues. First issue was the issue of gas. There was no gas in the area, so we had to run a 90 kilometers gas pipeline, which we built also as part of the project. There was no power, and we had to build 135 megawatts of power because at that time, you know, it's okay, fine, to do all these things, we need this. And then I spoke to President Obasanjo at that time, which he now directed NEPA to buy the excess power. We wanted to generate excess power of about 90 megawatts. So it is also, you know, it was our own thinking that we should generate that so that we'll be able to make additional income. So that's why we now invested 135 megawatts plants, 345 megawatts each. We did that. Eventually, NEPA didn't buy it from us, so it's one of the lessons of business. So with that one now, what we did was to go to IMF. No, not IFC. We went to IFC that, okay, fine, please, we are looking for financing, blah, blah, blah. It took them some time. You know, IFC, they do more due diligence on the person than on the company. And even the last time, a month ago when I met their CEO in Addis Ababa, and now said, well, last, I hope you have changed your thinking, yeah, you know, the way that you do business in Africa. Because in Africa, if you take somebody's proposal, you will sit on it for 6 months. That business will become stale. He doesn't need that business anymore after 6 months. You know, because things do move around very fast. He said, no, they have changed now. They do things differently, you know. And even Kevoluga for ADB, you know, he was saying that, why are we not dealing with ADB? I said, no, we are not dealing with ADB. Not that we hate anybody there, but it's just that at the time we needed ADB disappointed us. You know, and why? Because we went there, look, we're entrepreneurs, we want you to support us, we want to do this and that, you know, and really we became like a laughing stock. You know, we say, well, do you guys know what is cement factory? Say, yes, we do now. I mean, I didn't go, like, I didn't go to the meeting. But our CEO, Kule Alake, Somalia Zveru, and Uzo, who was our corporate finance director, they went there and made a presentation. So they came out with 7 years, you know, term, moratorium of 2 years, and then repayment of 5 years. We said, okay, fine, we agreed, you know, with that. But they are also very smart. We were also a bit desperate to collect the money to finance ourselves because we didn't expect the, you know, the plant to cost that much, you know, and we're a bit tight of cash. So we needed it, but they put something right there that, okay, fine. If we're going to expand anytime, all the lenders have to sign up and allow us to, you know, to give us a waiver to expand. The issue is that they don't want us to expand at all, you know, for that period of 7 years. So we said, okay, fine, we took the money. The Nigerian banks contributed about, just about 180 million, 179 million. And then we go 300 million. Total, we took $479 million. That was the first loan that we arranged with IFC, you know, which was also good. He gave us a very good mileage, a good record also, and we pushed through. We got the money from them, which really became a good relief, you know, and then we started expanding also, you know, Benue. We were expanding Benue, but slowly. But now we went very fast to see how we can turn Benue into a bigger company. The intention was actually to prove to Benue people and also to Nigerians that yes, even Nigerian can also do the same thing. You know, because what they used against us at that time is that we didn't have a technical technical partner. You know, in Nigeria, it's a crazy, you know, it is a crazy, you know, system. Even today, as a Nigerian, you now go and bid for power plant. Somebody will not turn around and say, okay, who is your technical partner? I mean, like us now, we bid for Shiroro and Gregu, and one crazy guy in EPA was asking that, you know, who are your technical partners? You know, and my guy really replied him that, well, you know, the businesses that we are doing now, do you see any technical you know, so, but that is what it is, really. You know, that is what it is. And I'm sure if going forward, you know, most people in government, they will stop, you know, I have nothing I have nothing against foreign investment. But you see, foreign investment does not really go anywhere where there's no local investment. Because it's the local investment that will be able to drag the foreign investment. You see, because foreigners are not fools. They have burnt their fingers here and there, you know, for, you know, God knows how long. And unless they see a local investing, they will not come at all. It doesn't matter how good it is. Because they will believe that there's something that is wrong, which they cannot see. But you as a local person, you know the terrain very well. So they won't come in at all. So with that, you know, that was the, you know, the issue. Anyway, we took the money, and our own financial model was actually what worked. You know, despite all these challenges, you know, because in Obadena, we had to build an airport, and the place is in the middle of nowhere, so we had to also build an airport, which is helping us today. Because without that airport, we couldn't really rely on the government, because we have signed agreement also. You know, it is also for your own listening to know. Yes, when you sign an agreement, sometimes if it's government, they might not do it, and if they don't do it, there's nothing you can do. You know, today the road that the government is supposed to build, you know, from the Obadena Kaba Junction to the factory up to Kaba Runabout, they only did about 18 kilometers. And the 18 kilometers that they did, now there's about 42.5 kilometers to be done, which we wrote to them 8 months ago that please allow us to go and do this road free of charge. We don't want your money anymore. But even that one have not received the approval. So that is also one of the toughest, you know, it's not really easy. And sometimes people think that yes, you sit down and you know, we're just making money. No, yes, we are making money, but with a lot of difficulty. So what happened was that now after collecting the money, then we were a bit relaxed, and that is when we were able to go through that agreement again. And we thought, okay, you know, these are the first people, and these are our committees. They've gone to corner us somewhere. Because when somebody is saying that no, you cannot expand your business until you have a written waiver from 13 lenders, which is difficult, you know, and all the 13 lenders, they have to agree. So if they don't agree, which means we will not be able to. So that's why we say, okay, well, let's see what we'll do. And they know, based on their calculation, we will not be able to pay that money for 7 years, which means we are trapped. It means that there won't be any expansion. At least they've been able to box us into a corner and keep us in Nigeria so that we will not go to anywhere. So okay, fine. And luckily, the business now turned out to be much better than what we even thought. And in 18 months, we now call everybody and say, please, everybody should come for a meeting. So they came at we met in Paris at our lawyer's office, Alan and Ori, and we said, well, gentlemen, we want to just thank you. We want to thank you. We want to thank you. The loan that you gave us, you know, it has actually helped quite a lot, but we want to give you notice. We also have to give 90 days notice. we want to give you notice of 90 days. And we'll be paying you your money. What? Yes, we'll be paying you all 479. And we did. We paid them the 479 million. But that almost will open eyes for other people because they didn't do something. See, normally in banking when you go, you want to borrow, when you want to prepay before the time, especially abroad, they will tell you that they have already booked that transaction. So what, for example, when we went to Standard Chartered, what they did was say, yes, when you are paying that penalty, the penalty is that they will make that money off from you. If you like, you can pay it, but those charges, they will take them off front. So if you like, you can pay off, But that one, there was nothing like that. So we went scot-free, we paid them the money, and then that's how we actually started, expanding. And it helped us quite a lot. Because with that small thing that they put, just one line, it actually stopped us from even being, would have actually stayed within, because the money was supposed to, we were supposed to finish paying that money in 2012. And now, the 479 was supposed to finish paying by now. It means that, would have actually stayed at that 5 million tons. Period. Because that was the argument. So we will go later to show you where we are now. So the 2007, is the diversification expansion. And also like what I keep saying, the more we expand, after a while we'll stop and consolidate again, because we are expanding. No, it is difficult for us to do all at the same time. To expand the business, to expand the human capital. There are things which we have to do now, because finding engineers, it is one of the toughest things for us to do. Experienced engineers. What we have done now is actually to open Dangote Academy. It's under construction now. But the students, started since last year, and I will show you when we get there also. So now the diversification is to now look at what we do. What we are trying to do now is actually to fully transform the company into an export base. Because if I go there and just tell you we are doing this, we are doing that, you will not really understand. We made our money through food businesses, different types, and going forward now we have cement. Because if you look at it, cement is the only business that we're taking outside Nigeria, because the one that is quite big, and not only that it's big, it's not really easy to build a cement factory. It costs a lot of money, and it's not only a lot of money. We look at the areas where we believe we have a greater advantage. The greater advantage that we have is that of cash that we have. And in 2008, if you remember, there was a banking crisis, and it doesn't matter where you are, anywhere where you are in the world, they said that cash is king. Without a good amount of money, because anything can happen. I mean, you can see what is happening today in Europe. So people who have cash will make more money despite the crisis in Europe. It's not only Europe, even in America, you've seen, I don't know whether some of you invest in micro, you follow the micro at least. And you can see that almost everything came down in the last 3 days. And yesterday was actually worse. Because these are things that I believe that whether you have investment or not, it is also part of what you guys need to keep following. Because before, I used to, about 12, 15 years ago, I used to only concentrate on what was happening in Nigeria only. But that's not it. You see, because when you go and you meet your colleagues abroad, they will be talking to you about what is happening in China, even though you don't have anything to do with China. But you know, you can't just say yes, you know, you cannot just take it back. So you have to have a broad, yes, you know, you have to have a broad knowledge of what's going on. I mean, for example, yesterday I had to rush back from Mina to go and you know, give dinner to Sarah, Gordon Brown's wife, and you know, she came and she was passing by to go back, and you know, the husband said that she tried you know, see. And what we talked about was totally different outside. By you know, was about climate change. And that's what you know, what you know, they talk about. But you know, those guys really, they're doing extremely well, you know, because they care. They're passionate about helping the needy. You know, much even better than us. I think Fili people are not really used to giving out much. You know. Indians, Chinese, and Africans, you know. But what they have done now is actually to POPs. Now they are having a retreat of 400 highest billionaires, which they invited us. I mean, I'm part of what you know, they invited that we should come. We're having a key in Washington for 2 days to tell us why we should be giving more money to the needy, which is good. You know, it's a very good something to do, because the needy ones today, you need to take care of them. So, with that, you know, you need to really follow what is happening, and the diversification will help us. Today, yes, it's true, maybe we don't need to export anything, but what we are trying to do is to make sure that, you know, before, actually, we used to be the highest in terms of consumption of foreign exchange. We have fought with central bank over and over, what are we doing with money? We want to look at what we do. Why are you buying too much money? That's because our business is big. You see, the problem with us is that everything we now put under Dangote. So when they add the numbers, if we are using KY Limited or whatever, they won't even know who was buying, unless they look at you know, the registration of the directorship. So it took a long time before Central, especially when we were building over Jena. One time I had to go and take, all the deputy governors to come to Obajana and see what we are doing. You know, because of the amount of money we are actually buying in terms of foreign exchange. But what we are trying to do now is trying to make sure that we become the biggest foreign exchange earning company in Nigeria, and that's why we're building fertilizer, even the cement. Let's start with the cement itself. When you look at whether we're doing our cement, the target is for us to minimum, if we do badly, we should export 5 million tons from Nigeria outside. The 5 million tons will even more. Because right now, the one we commission, which is the Beshi, some of you, I'm sure you've been there before, we have already started building the same one by the side, which is the to take it to 12 million tons. The greatest advantage that we have with that is that, you know, we're only 28 kilometers away from the border, the Republic of Benin. From Republic of Benin, you go to Togo to Ghana. From our plant there to our plant in Ghana is about 410 kilometers. So which means it's nearer than going to Obajana or Abuja. Because from my plant to Abuja is over 600 kilometers. And Ghana doesn't have limestone. The one in Togo is not much, and even if it's there, you know, they have only one small factory. But from Benin Republic out to this Ghana, within the 410 kilometers, there is import of cement totaling about 7.5 million tons. That's one. So we will take advantage of what we will take advantage of the common market, which means it is zero duty, which will go into all these countries. That's one. Number two, apart from the zero duty, you know, there's what we call export expansion grant, you know, which is for export. Government should pay about 30%. But honestly, telling the truth, as a businessman, I am not even calculating that will continue to pay, because things can change. Right now, we are saying that yes, if I'm going to earn 30% of whatever it's for, it's based on CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. They pay you 30%. Maybe when you submit a bill of $1 billion, somebody will say, I know this too much, they won't be able, they can stop, or they can change the policy. But we're not really following even that. But if they do, then it's good. So, yeah.